before you're 7, you're being run by programs. You're being programmed consistently because we're in theta brainwaves, which is actually hypnosis. So everything going on around us, we are actually being programmed. Of course, like at such a young age, like you and me both, we're still developing their identity. We're still developing all these different things that we think that we want to go after. So that's when, and it's the most important time actually to start building who you are during this moment, because right now and after 7 years old, that's when you really become conscious and self-aware. And after that, before you're 7, you're being run by programs. You're being programmed consistently because we're in a brainwave state that's much slower. We're in the theta brainwaves, which is actually hypnosis. So everything going on around us, we are actually being programmed. And those programs, up until we're 7 years old, that's what really constitutes most of our beliefs and our the ways we see the world. So after we're 7, it will become harder to change your internal beliefs and your perceptions as well. So that's why it's super important to understand these things at a young age, so that when we're 30, 40, we have kids, we're not still being run by the programs that we were given by our parents, by our early childhood society, everything, all these early, I would say, programs. It's really a program. And being aware of it now, I think, is the most important time, because you can start rebuilding and reprogramming those there's a lot of limiting beliefs. It's a lot of automatic negative thinking that we have going on in our minds consistently. In another podcast I had, we started talking about the butterfly and how a butterfly comes to fruition. And it's basically a caterpillar in the beginning of their life. And it starts eating everything, destruction, getting all these resources for themselves, these caterpillars. And then at some moment, they call them the imaginal cells inside the caterpillar that basically notify the caterpillar that, it's time to have your metamorphosis. And that's when nature brings that caterpillar into a cocoon, and the metamorphosis after that is the butterfly. And I think that's where humanity is right now. We're destroying, thousands and thousands and thousands of species and ecosystems, and we're taking all these resources, and our beliefs, our consciousness are rooted in materialism and lack. So I think there's the imaginal cells within a caterpillar. Imagine that the caterpillar is its own organism, and then humanity is an organism. So each individual in humanity is a cell. And there's going to be these imaginal cells that start waking up the bigger organism. It's time to evolve. It's time to have your metamorphosis. It's time to bring the next step of the organism's evolution, which is going to be a new earth. It's going to be that golden age that philosophers, Indian mystics have been saying for centuries, that there's these cycles that humanity goes through, and this is not inevitable, because what is inevitable, that could be one path, and then the other path is that we self-destruct ourselves, because there have been past civilizations that we're just now finding out that have completely disappeared from the face of the earth, and we don't know what happened to them. Maybe did they merge with technology? Did they destroy themselves in a war? Did they have a cataclysm that destroyed them? We don't even know the answers to these questions, but it's our humanity now, and that's where our younger generations come in. That's why these people that are talking with us are so eager to sit down and share their wisdom, because they know that our generation has a lot of responsibility and needs guidance. It needs that light to come in for us. It needs to start waking up, and it's gonna be in our hands basically to see if we choose that new earth golden age or self-destruction. And that's why it's so important, the work that you're doing, the work that I'm doing, the work that people, leaders, conscious leaders around us are actually coming together and seeing that this is a bigger mission for all of us. It's a huge mission, and it's a huge shift for humanity that must happen now, or else it's gonna be a bit too late.
Yeah, certainly is. And here I want to bring up, well, first, what you said about the caterpillar and which turns into a butterfly. It's sort of what Eckhart says in the first chapter of the book, which is flowering. And yeah, and he talks about how Jesus and Buddha and all these messengers of God were the first flowers, the first people to have this enlightenment and this awakening to the new state of being and consciousness. And again, what he says about a new earth is that right now the humanity is flowering into a new being. And as you say, if we don't do it, then the other result, the other future will be a future in which we destroy ourselves. How do you think the school system, the education system all around the world is empowering or disempowering this generation, to us, to create this change?
I don't want to put it in either or. I don't want to say it's disempowering or empowering. I think you can use it both ways. Education, the institutions are what, and the way that the system is laid out in most higher education systems is that basically input a student and a class of students, give them the same material, and you're basically like printing copies of these people. And what I realized with my education and how other people approach their own education is so different. It's so different. The way that we learn, the way that, I think we should, in our classes, really focus on what lights us up in a way. So it's true that we need like a balance of learning math, science, languages. All these things are good to have, but there comes a point where if you're extremely overachiever and you're, let's say, a genius in numbers, then some part of the education system needs to acknowledge that this person is, this is what their talent is, their gift. So let's develop that gift. Let's develop that talent in them. Not just, oh yeah, cool, you took the class, now take languages. And then the kid is like, wait, no, I want to do the other thing. And that's what leads to sometimes feeling that our schools and our classes don't align with what we need in the moment, and unmotivate us as well.